First thing I'm going to talk about is the orientation of the platform. It's not uncommon that we see people break the gun down and then ride it over the shoulder. I'm not a big fan. Where that came from is in vehicle CQB. So where that came from is if this vehicle, we're in a vehicle, for example, say we're in the driver's seat, and the carbine is along the side, and there's a reason for us to shoot through the windshield, that's where that came from. Literally pulling the gun up and over your shoulder to then clear the dash so we could then shoot through the windshield. That's where it came from. And then what guys realize is, hey man, we can be even tighter on the threshold. So they start breaking the gun down to give themselves a couple of extra inches on the threshold. I'm not a big fan for a few reasons, especially as the number one. We want the gun in a position to scrap, right? Whether it's ballistically or to beat the snot out of somebody with it. So when we come up to a threshold, if we made the determination that we're going to enter this room, we'll talk about by ourselves first, but again, I really want to harp on the reality that encouraging a minimum of 2. So we make entry, there's 2 steps that we'll talk about. So orienting of the gun, we're looking just over top of the sights. We don't want to be looking through the sights. Looking over top to collect as much information as possible. We want the muzzle as close to the threshold as possible without over penetrating. Sometimes what happens is we get set up really far away, we make the commitment to enter, now we got to take either multiple steps or one large step to get into the threshold. So by getting our muzzle as close to the threshold as possible with the gun in the upright position looking over top of the sights, we have a penetration step and a power step. So the penetration step is essentially when we get into the threshold, we've made our assessment. Depending on what we see in our snapshot, what we can see in this particular case is the majority of the room is on the right-hand side. So this would be referred to as our strong side, just given the fact that there's nothing in there that draws our attention, but the larger portion of the room is on the right, so that would drive our attention to the right. So now that we're in the threshold, we have a penetration step which says my brain has committed to going to the right. The penetration step is orient our foot in the direction that we want to go. And then our second step is what's referred to as a power step, where when we commit to breaking the threshold, we want our power step to be in a position where we have a bend in the knees, and then now we have the ability to drive into that corner that we made the commitment. All right, so with a little bit of speed, gun is up as the number 1. Enter, snapshot, determination, penetration step, power step, drive. And what you'll notice is the sooner that we have the gun in that corner and we dig in our corner, the sooner we can make an assessment if there's somebody there. Read the hands. If they're armed, they go down. If they're unarmed, now we need to make the determination, keep moving, but be prepared to scrap with this thing. All right, so this is the first drill that we're going to practice. 1-man entry, head up, gun up. Now, as I enter, what I'll ask you guys to do is follow suit here. Because I am by myself, which is unrealistic, I'll just show you a way that I would crack this nut if I was by myself. Okay, so as you guys come over here, you'll see me make entry, and I'll get you guys to go on the inside so you can see it as well. So muzzle really close to the threshold, take that step, snapshot, penetration step, power step, there's nothing. Right away, I would continue to open my arc, open up the hips, and I'm checking my 6. This would not be optimal. However, we have to have a solution to a problem should we be by ourselves. So first one, just watch the feet. Muzzle's close to the threshold. Take that breath of courage. Making a determination. Penetration step. Power step, drive nothing. And then we're opening up our hips. And you notice I'm keeping my feet in motion. I already know that this wall's here. There's nothing for my attention to be here. Quick snapshot, ensure my back is covered. And then we then start to systematically, logically think about how we would lick the rest of this up. Right? So one more time, pay attention to the firearm on this one. All right, so threshold analogy, as close to the threshold as possible without protruding past. Make that determination. Breath of courage, the gun's hot. Enter, I don't see anything yet. Penetration step, dig it, nothing. Open up the arc, and then safe the gun. All right, muzzle's close to the threshold. We step in, snapshot, penetration step, power step, nothing, and then I'm opening up the gun. What I'm trying to avoid is this. There's nothing. Oh shit, there's something. Because literally, even though that's, let's say, a quarter of a second, that could be the difference between getting shot in the back. So head is up, nothing, checking my 6, drive the gun, confirm nothing, and then systematically what would be next.